It may have been a stone that was lying here before people set it upright. Have a good look at it, but remember not to touch the stone or step over the rope. If the grass isn't too high, you might be able to make out raised parallel banks and ditches on either side of the heelstone. They form a corridor running towards Stonehenge about 20 meters wide. You may also be able to see that it continues behind you into the field. This is the final section of what's called the avenue. The avenue is nearly 3 kilometers, or about 2 miles long, linking Stonehenge to the banks of the River Avon. The avenue was probably built in about 2300 BC, after the stones were raised. The setting sun would have been framed between the two uprights of the tallest trilithon on the far side of the stone circle. The one upright still standing is easy to spot because it has a bump or tenon on top. Stonehenge's alignment shows that its builders had a sophisticated understanding of the sky. The seasons would have been very important to them. The winter would have been a difficult time. They needed the return of longer days and warmth to grow their crops and feed their animals. Perhaps Stonehenge was a sort of calendar, or a place where the seasons were celebrated. We think people may have gathered here at midwinter and midsummer to celebrate and conduct rituals. Sarsens can weigh over 30 tons. The tallest one here stands over 7 meters high, with another 2.5 meters below ground. The smaller stones inside the circle, still weighing up to 3 tons, are called bluestones. They're actually a variety of volcanic rocks, all with a blue-grey colour. They were brought from the Preseli Hills in southwest Wales, over 240 kilometres, or 156 miles away. The stones were brought overland using sledges and ropes, and probably along rivers and around the coast by boat. It was a huge feat of organisation. Round barrows were built after construction activities at Stonehenge had finished, from about 2200 BC until about 1600 BC. Many of these mounds were placed along the ridges overlooking Stonehenge, indicating that the monument remained an important site long after building work was complete. There are more than 300 mounds in the Stonehenge landscape, one of the highest concentrations in Britain. Each barrow covered the graves of what we assume were prominent people. The earliest barrows contain burials. Later, some covered cremations. Often the person was buried with spectacular grave goods, including stone, bone and bronze tools, pottery, ceremonial battle axes, and ornaments made from exotic materials like jet, amber, and gold.
This back side of the stone circle seems to have been built of more irregularly shaped stones than the other sides, and the stones were not so carefully dressed and shaped. There's even one stone which is much shorter and narrower than what was needed. This suggests that this side wasn't so important for impressing people approaching the monument from the main entrance on the far side.
Some archaeologists think that the stone circle may not have been completed at all. Only a few other cremation cemeteries from this period are known in Britain, and Stonehenge is the largest. This ring of holes are known as Aubrey holes after 17th century antiquary John Aubrey. He was the first person to notice some of these holes, which appeared as depressions, although they weren't excavated for another 250 years. The holes remind us that Stonehenge was an important ritual site long before the stones arrived.